A Singapore mosquito production facility is now able to produce 10 million male Wolbachia mosquitoes weekly. That's up from the 6 million in 2024. Debug is a Google initiative and is expanding its R&D by accelerating AI and automation in the global fight against mosquito-borne diseases. It says this will introduce cost-effective and proven ways to protect communities across the Asia-Pacific region. Rachel Teng with this report.
This is the deadliest animal in the world. For 10 years, Singapore has been fighting hard to keep it away from its people. Mosquitoes are responsible for at least 750,000 deaths a year worldwide, transmitting diseases like dengue, Zika, and chikungunya. With the help of facilities like this, Singapore is fighting mozzies with mozzies.
The idea is to bring the technology into a country to deploy more Wolbachia programs, and through that, we will be able to protect more people. And hopefully, mosquito-borne disease is something that will be reduced over time.
Singapore's Project Wolbachia produces male Aedes aegypti mosquitoes that carry the Wolbachia bacteria. When they mate with female mosquitoes in the wild, their eggs do not hatch. This suppresses the mosquito population by over 90% in some estates. Better still, the males do not bite humans. Google's Debug uses AI and automation to sort the males from the females at scale and speed.
Now what you're seeing here is an automated sex sorter that helps to tell apart the sexes of millions of mosquitoes every single day. So what it does is it makes the mosquito walk through the lanes one at a time and then takes high-resolution passport photos of them. And you can see here, this mosquito is female because it has a long needle-like mouthpiece that allows them to pierce through the human skin and draw blood, and that allows them to lay eggs. Whereas the males only have these V-shaped mouthpieces that allows them to only eat for survival. And this way, using the help of AI, they sort through the sexes of the mosquitoes live and only keep the male ones.
Robot helpers take care of the bugs at every stage of their life cycle, checking them in and out of these mozzie hotels, feeding them regularly, and sieving out smaller male pupae. By scaling up its operations, Debug says it can tap Singapore's know-how to help the rest of the region.
Singapore, it's been a very important country for us as Google, and where we believe a lot of innovation has taken place, and there's a very deep talent pool here. So I want to tap on that and be very centered around where the problem is. 70% of global burden is within a few hours flight from Singapore. So we're solving out of Singapore for Southeast Asia and beyond on one of the longest standing problems.
In 2025, Singapore logged over 4,000 dengue fever cases, 70% lower than the year before. But the National Environment Agency says the country needs to stay vigilant to keep numbers in check. From April to October of 2026, it will roll out Project Wolbachia gradually to Bukit Panjang, Little India, Pioneer, Toa Payoh and Ang Mo Kio. By the end of 2026, it aims to cover half of all Singapore households.
Each stage of Project Wolbachia will take about 6 months before overall mosquito populations fall. And let's take a closer look at how it works. Now, male Aedes aegypti mosquitoes are released to mate with the female Aedes mosquitoes. The eggs produced do not hatch, which helps to reduce the population. Authorities also track mozzie numbers using GraviTrack, which attract breeding female mosquitoes. Around 72,000 of these traps are currently in use. Now, the aim is to prevent diseases spread by mosquitoes like Zika, which cause serious complications, including birth defects, and chikungunya, which causes high fever and severe joint pain. Now, there are currently no active Zika or chikungunya clusters in Singapore. As for dengue, there is one high-risk area in Seletar with 10 or more cases as of May 11th. Now, still, cases hit a 7-year low in 2025. Ultimately, Project Wolbachia is not a silver bullet. Removing breeding spots remains the main strategy in curbing the growth of mosquito populations. Joining me for more is Professor Lok Sheemei. She's the Interim Vice-Dean for Research at the Duke-NUS Medical School. Professor, can we say that the project is the main reason dengue and Zika cases are at their lowest levels in recent years, or are there other factors at play?
Well, it definitely does help. I think the latest is it reduced by about 70% dengue cases. And it is due to the competition between the Wolbachia mosquito and the wild-type mosquito. So one factor could be that if you release a lot of Wolbachia mosquito, it will outcompete the wild-type. And but this may change according to maybe the weather. If it is more favorable for the wild type will grow much more, and then you will have some outbreaks. But I think looks like it's controlling it very well.
Professor Lok, the project started in 2016. Is it fair then to say the measures of its success would be to reduce Aedes, the Egypti mosquito population, and the resulting dengue cases? How is it Singapore is doing on those fronts?
I think we're doing very well. They reduced the dengue cases by almost 70%. And I think earlier studies showed it's 88%. So it's very, very promising. Yeah.
Now, how much coverage is needed before the Wolbachia program really starts to make a noticeable difference on the ground in Singapore?
So it's not about how many mosquitoes are released, but consistently and widely the program covers connected communities. So once coverage becomes sufficiently broad, the mosquito population and dengue transmission can drop very substantially.
Now, we've seen in some cases that dengue spikes at times, even in areas with Wolbachia. Why does that happen?
So the Wolbachia coverage is not uniform everywhere. If nearby areas still have substantial wild mosquito populations, mosquito and infected individuals can reintroduce transmission into treated zones. And, dengue spread is strongly influenced by weather and climate. So if you have warm weather, rainfall and humidity, it can rapidly increase the mosquito breeding grounds and also accelerate virus replication inside the mosquito. And so then you would have the wild-type mosquito competing with the Wolbachia mosquito, and they might win. So and the human population immunity change over time. So dengue have 4 serotypes. So when a different strain becomes dominant, large portions of the population may have lower immunity and allowing outbreaks to occur. So you can see sometimes there's an outbreak.
Now, with the results we're seeing, what's next in terms of for Project Wolbachia?
I think like what the Google is doing is to make much more of them. I think it's a competition thingy. So you just need to make a ton of them and release them, so then they will outcompete. But also people are worried about the influence of the ecosystem because, naturally there's a different population of mosquitoes. So if you remove all the Aedes aegypti, other mosquito will come. And, we don't really know what will happen after that. But thankfully, the Aedes aegypti, which is the one that Wolbachia is going to replace, it is the most important target in Singapore because it spreads dengue and it's also very closely, it lives very closely with humans, like in the house and all that, compared to the other mosquitoes that doesn't live around us. So those other mosquitoes are like Culex and Anopheles, which spreads other viruses like Japanese encephalitis and malaria type, but they don't live in the house. So the ones that live in the house is Aedes aegypti. And then this type of mosquito, in addition to spreading dengue, also spread Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever. So the Wolbachia mosquito will also, along the way, eliminate the other viruses too.
Now, from your research and studies, are we at the point where Wolbachia can be considered a gold standard in mosquito control? And could this expertise be something that Singapore can export to other countries, you think?
So Wolbachia is increasingly being viewed as one of the most important advances in mosquito control in recent decades, but I would be careful about calling any single approach the absolute gold standard yet. What makes Wolbachia so exciting is it is highly targeted, it is environmentally friendlier than the heavy insecticides reliance, and it attacks the mosquito's ability to transmit viruses rather than simply trying to kill every mosquito. So the field results from Singapore and other countries have been very encouraging, with substantial reduction in mosquito population and dengue transmission. So I would describe Wolbachia as a major breakthrough and potentially a new global benchmark in integrated vector control. So Singapore, we didn't just build a biological tool, but also an entire operation ecosystem. So we like the large-scale mosquito production, AI assistant sex sorting, automated release system, surveillance infrastructure, urban deployment strategies, and strong public health coordination. So we could help the neighboring countries in this sort of work to roll it out into the community. Actually, our system is the dense urban city scale, which is the hardest environment for dengue control, and we are successful. So we are very well positioned to help others in it and can be a global leader.
Well, Professor, thank you for your insights. We've been speaking to Professor Lok Sheemei from the Office of Research at the Duke-NUS Medical School.